Welcome back to the Caribou Data Science channel. Today is Monday, January 4th, 2021. I'm responding to an email to a GitHub post regarding the parents. It says right here, daily deaths in Sweden seems to be way off compared to source. Okay, this is by Marcello Grotta. Uh, and my original response was to point to my original point. I was shocked to see the number of daily deaths being higher than the peak in April. I checked the source with the same and normally check, uh, and they are way down. Last chart, the bottom right. Why the discrepancy? And I said I believe that at some point Sweden, rather than Saturday and Sunday, actually they added Tuesday to Saturday. Right? Well, I was wrong here. Hi, Dave. Thank you for your answer. I watched the video, but I still don't understand. The two charts below should be the same. They are the same source, and both are daily numbers. Well, the immediate thought is, uh, if you look at the spike here, this is 100. What's the difference? These are probably not daily numbers. Okay. These are probably something like an average, maybe. Okay. Notice here the volatility that they recorded 0 deaths on this day, and up here is 250 deaths. Well, the reason this is different is because this is an average, as we'll see. So first of all, I'm going to come back. I'm going to plot the. I'm going to do a plot of the Tuesday to set. I'm going to do a plot from Tuesday to Tuesday, so we can see exactly what this looks like. Okay. Filter. Date. Equals. Let's do. So let's do December 15th to December 22nd. Okay. December 14th. Let's do December 14th to December 22nd. Okay. Once again, the 14th. So they record data up to here, right? Tuesday to Friday, which honestly makes no sense to me. Why is it so hard to the sad thing about this is, and this isn't just Sweden. We had an opportunity to collect an unprecedented amount of data on a pandemic, and yet the countries and the governments are playing games like this. Without the Saturday, Sunday, Monday numbers, well, it significantly diminishes the value of this data, in my opinion. Okay, so we're going to do 15 to 22nd. Okay, let's see what happens here. 15 to okay. Now let's just do a quick pipe here. We're going to use a column plot. In cases, let's just sell this. Okay. So here you can see the numbers are plotted. 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st. Okay? So the number here is over twice as high as this number here. Because this number is 19th, 20th, and 21st. This number is the total for these 3 days here. And simply put, that's a problem. Okay, that's a problem. This is why you're getting this excess volatility. Okay? Let's do this. Okay. Let's do the same thing for deaths. Okay. Deaths plotted. You can see once again we got this skip here. Cases. Okay. Okay, so let's once again take a look at this here. So once again, you got this huge gap. So if you plot this with a regular plot, looks like this. You have a line down here, then it falls off to nothing, then it climbs back up here. Remember, this number contains all 3 of these numbers in here. So in actual fact, you probably want to subtract, say, 10,000 cases from this, and then divide the difference by 3. Okay? That's the same thing. In all probability, these deaths weren't that much different than this number here for these 3 days. And I think that is where you're seeing the difference. Okay? If we look at this plot over here, what's the difference? First of all, I want you to notice this cumulative total. Don't be misled by this cumulative total. I'll explain in a minute. This is the numbers we're really concerned with over here. Intensive care cases, well, what about total cases? Okay? Most sources record cases and deaths. Intensive care is something completely different. Okay? Well, all we see here is an intensive care. Okay? Disease. Okay, I'm sorry. This is the daily cases. This is the cases and this is the cases and this is the daily cases, daily deaths. So if you look here, you can see the spike was about 100 here. All right? You come over here, and once again, if we look at cases first, cases were above about, had a spike at about 11,382. Okay. Okay. That's misleading because they're missing these numbers here. Now, this number here is the raw numbers. My guess is this is probably some type of average or smooth number. This could be a weekly number. Okay. That's the only way you can explain this spike here at 250 and this one here at under 100. Okay. Notice all the volatility. Even here you can see the volatility, the spikes going up and down. Okay. This is why we use sometimes what is called a smooth curve or a moving average to try to cut through this volatility down to the underlying trend so we can see what the data is doing on a daily basis. Are the cases increasing or decreasing on a daily basis? In order to get that, we have to use a smooth curve, okay? So hopefully that explains that a little bit more. Now let's come back down. Let's look at the rest of our data. Okay. So here's the raw data, okay? Here's the raw data. You see the spikes, ups and downs? Okay. And here's the same number with the 7-day moving average. Let's run this again. Now see what happens is this blue line gets rid of that volatility. So this will kind of give you the average, so to speak, of the cases per day wherever this crosses the line. So up here, last week of December, you averaged about, say, 15,000 cases. If we produce a number, a 7-day moving average, which means we average the first 7 days, then we average the second through the 8th day, then we average the 3rd through the 9th day, so forth. So it's a moving average. You're averaging, in this case, actually 14, the window is 14. So this is an average for 14 days for cases, okay? And this is what we're concerned with here. Okay, this is what we're concerned with. Because any one of these points on this mark represent the average for the previous 7 days. You notice how we got rid of a lot of volatility and allows us to see the actual data. Now you see here, there's a drop in number right there. That's probably, so we're 14 days. So this is probably, you know what this could be? This could be Christmas or New Year's. Okay? This could be Christmas and New Year's. This could be Christmas and New Year's, okay? But the main point is this, on average, you're averaging about 6,000 cases per day. Let's take a look at the daily deaths. You can see up here you had a spike apparently above 250. Well, this could be, but if this is Tuesday data, then this is 3 days worth of data. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Again, the 14-day moving average. Once again, you can see the shape better. This gives us a better picture of what's really going on. Okay. And it appears to be, again, this could be Christmas and this could be New Year's. Cause a decline because nothing was reported on Christmas and New Year's. Let's look at weekly numbers now. Weekly numbers is another way of getting rid of some of this volatility. So you can see on cases here, it's huge matches spike in cases. Okay, 3 weeks ago was the largest weekly cases so far, over 45,000. And then drop down. For instance, this here could be Christmas week. So there's no there's nothing recorded for about maybe day before Christmas, Christmas, and the day after. Okay, and this is the first week in January so far. Yes. Once again, you can see this climb up. Again, this could be Christmas week. So that spike is a little misleading. Let's take a look at monthly numbers now. So you can see again that November or December was the worst month so far for cases, over 200,000 cases. And December was the first month so far for deaths, with over 2,000 deaths. Now we're going to compare this to EU countries of similar size, 9 to 12 million people, okay? Let's pull up this. So these are the total cases by country. So once again, these are countries who have a population of 9 to 12 million. And you can see Sweden has the second most cases with 60,000. Let's take a look at deaths now. You can see Sweden has the most deaths out of these 6 countries, at over maybe close to 8,000, 1,800 to 2,000 deaths. So, okay. Let's just do a quick comparison of individual cases daily cases by country. Notice that this y-axis labels vary from plot to plot. What we want to look at here is really just the shape of the plot. Shape of the plot. You see Belgium start off very swiftly and climb and climb and climb and climb, and then drop down. And as did Hungary, a very long climb up. Sweden had numbers fairly low up until about November, when you had to jump up to 5,000 cases. Okay, let's take a look at the same thing by deaths. Again, look at Sweden. It has to me has a smaller area here than this and this. All these have a much larger area of which contain the deaths. So this is. So I saw an article that says, well, how come our anti-lockdown didn't work? Well, I would argue it did work up until November. Okay, it did work because if you really look at your numbers, there wasn't a lot going on up until November. Now someone asked about the cumulative total, so let's run a report for the cumulative totals. And if you look at your web page for Sweden's COVID-19 official website, you'll see two buttons under each plot. It's supposed to say daily deaths and cumulative deaths. Okay, just to make sure we understand this. This represents the total number of deaths from the very first death back here up until any point along this line. You're adding yesterday's numbers into today's numbers, so therefore, this plot can never go down. This cumulative total is going up. You may have heard the phrase back in the spring, at least in the U.S., called flattening the curve. This is where they see that curve flattening. But in order for this curve to flatten, you're going to have a very long period of minimal cases of deaths. Okay, minimal cases of deaths for this to flatten out here. But you can look here. Take a look here. This is an example of flattening the curve. You had a steep climb up to here, then you flatten out up until November. Then in October and November, you've been declining again. And so that's really what we're looking for here. Okay, that's what it means when we talk about cumulative numbers. Now let's look at the cumulative numbers by those 6 countries. Okay. Now if you look here, you can see that to a certain extent, all the cumulative plots look the same. Okay. And you can see Belgium had a flattening here. Greece had a very prolonged period of flattening here. Here's yours. You can see us here. But the one thing in common, all the numbers increase. And that's really the point I want to make for you today. Let's run this from the top. Okay? So again, back at the top, this shows the reporting gap in Sweden's numbers. Sweden numbers run from Tuesday to Friday. So this is the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. Okay. When you take these numbers here and you add them on to here, which causes a huge spike. The numbers should belong back down here someplace. Same thing with deaths. The numbers should have been somewhere back down, maybe here at the most, but we don't know that now because we don't know what the actual numbers were per day. This is a plot of the actual numbers. Once again, you got this because of this volatility here in the spike up. You really kind of missed this number right here. This is a 14-day moving. It says 7, but it's a 14-day moving average. Okay, so that number right there is the average number of cases for the previous 14 days. That's how you can think about that, okay? This drop here is probably Christmas weekend. It's probably Christmas, okay? You can see but you can see this volatility is a result of numbers not being of that problem with Saturday and Sunday, Monday numbers. But the basic plot does remain the same. The shape remains the same. The deaths are climbing in Sweden. Here, again, there's the 14-day moving average. This is probably Christmas. This is probably New Year's. Okay? Weekly cases again. This week, this is the worst week for cases so far. This was last week's cases, okay? Because, by the way, these weekly plots, they run from Sunday to Saturday, right? So this was the numbers for the last week of December and the first few days of New Year's. Same thing with cases. Same thing with deaths. Monthly deaths, like we see here, December has been the worst month so far for cases, and December was the second worst month so far for deaths. Again, these are the 5 countries with under 12 million, which is the roughly which Sweden kind of falls in the middle of. So you can see Sweden had the 4th most cases so far, close to 60,000 cases. And the most deaths so far was this being about, say, maybe 1,800 deaths so far. And again, this is just breaking the daily numbers out, daily cases out by country, daily deaths out by country, cumulative total for cases, cumulative total for deaths. Once again, this is cumulative cases. Again, I want you to notice that, to a certain extent, cases, these lines pretty much look the same. On the case of deaths, there is some difference. You can see Greece is distinctly different, as is Hungary. Here, once again, you can see the number here. So that concludes, so I would say that, so that concludes my report for today for Sweden. Hopefully, this explains some of the differences between the various numbers you're seeing. Like I say, my guess is these numbers are probably not daily numbers. Okay? Cases, deaths. Notice these numbers here, 20 deaths. These show the spike being higher back in here. But I don't think back here, I don't think they were doing the skipping the days, okay? It could be the difference. So anyway, so hopefully this will make it a little more clear for you so when you look at the data, you understand exactly what it says. Thanks so much for your time. We'll catch you again in a later report. Oh, by the way, before I let you go, click the subscribe button, click the like button, click the share button, and share this report, this video with your friends and your family, your coworkers, your neighbors. Share it on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, whatever social media platform you use. Share this report for Sweden for today. By the way, my plan is to update this report every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And so we'll catch you back on Wednesday morning, okay?